in the way of them being together. And Colby was old enough that he didn't live in the house. That could be something he's grappling with. That's a really terrifying and sad thought. Like, if I was in the way, would I be here? He's really tough for having this conversation with his mom. And also, I'm sure he's probably thought of that angle before and still choosing to have a connection with her to try to figure this all out. Hey, that's tough. Wouldn't be me. Couldn't do it.
You said no one was murdered. That was your biggest statement. You said not one single person was murdered. That everybody, you said there were suicides and deaths, accidental deaths, and you said that there was drug overdoses. That no one was murdered. So that's what I'm going to ask you then. If you were willing to say it in your statement, then I'm asking you to say it to me. If you don't want to go into detail, that's your decision. But that's what I'm asking you today. You are the only person that deserves to know the truth. Also, I can't tell the story of what happened to Tylee and JJ without telling Tylee's life. And I don't necessarily want to tell that to the public, but you know it. You are the only person who lived it with me and her.
She's trying to trash Tylee and just say she wasn't a good kid. You know, personally, I would throw that right out the window because first of all, she was a teenager. And second of all, the videos that I have of Tylee that are stuck in my head are the ones where she was very protective of JJ, her brother, who was autistic. And also, I don't know if you guys know this, JJ Vallow was actually adopted. He was Charles Vallow, her fourth husband's adopted nephew. And Lori and Charles adopted him into the family. So Tylee and JJ were blood related, but they would be more like what, cousins, second cousins, something like that. But Tylee literally loved him like it was her little brother. It was her little brother. And so the images I have of Tylee in my head are, I'm sure you guys have seen those videos where she's like, no, he's mine. Or like she's very like cuddly and protective of him. And what Lori is trying to say in this video is that Tylee was a bad person. Tylee was not a bad person. She was a teenage girl. She was just a teenage girl.
You were the ones there where she was crying and screaming and throwing things at walls because they were forcing her to go to jail. You saw all of her moods. You knew how she was having depression and anxiety.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Even coming over to mentor her.
That's fine. Doesn't mean kill her. It doesn't mean that there's any justification for that. Sounds like a normal teenage girl. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was the one that was like, hey guys, let's be respectful. But you know because you were there, and you were there with terrifying.
JJ. You were there with Tylee, and you know. And I didn't want to write it out like that. I didn't want to just say, oh, this is what happened. I wanted to talk to you and answer your questions, so I can tell you everything that actually happened. And if you have a question of something, well, the police said this, then I have an answer for that. That is not what they weren't there, and they don't know. So I wanted to talk to you so I could hear your questions and answer your questions, because you are the only person besides me on this whole earth who really loved both of them the way that I did. And so
I need you to imagine this is reality. We're here, okay? Lori is over here in Delulu land, okay? These bubbles do not cross over, okay? And so often when we're dealing with somebody that's in a delusion, we try to pull their bubble into ours. And it's very exhausting to try to talk down a delusion and pull somebody into earth, right? And so you can travel over and meet them in their bubble. It's crazy over there. And normally that's kind of the reality to delusion pipeline, right? But in this case, what I think is happening is here we are in reality. Lori's over here in Delulu land, but she has armed guards with just narcissistic manipulation tactics. It's like the delusion is surrounded by narcissistic abuse, and it's protecting the delusion at all costs. So Lori's is protected by some other old skills she has. Anyways, that's just my take, my read on it. Do with it what you will.
Do you want me to say what I've seen?
Sure.
So it's gonna be heavy, so I hope you're ready for this. They found my little brother in a bag, tied up, buried, and then they found remnants of my sister. Remnants, not even a person anymore.
I don't know if you know this. Tylee was found in Chad's backyard in the pet cemetery, and she had been dismembered. Not only did they most likely kill her on the Yellowstone Park trip and then put her body back in the car while JJ was probably in the car, but then they took her to Chad's property, and that's what they did with her body.
Can you imagine why that is? Do you have any room to think that would happen?
No.
So you don't know because you weren't there, but when, after Charles passed away, and Alex and I and Tyler were at our table in there at the house in Chandler, and we were going over Charles' wishes, and Charles had put all his stuff down saying he wanted to be cremated, and don't ever put me in a box or I'll come back and haunt you, because he was claustrophobic. He didn't like the idea of being in a box, and he had said all these funny things on his letter to me. And Tylee said to me and Alex at the time, she said, don't you put me in a box either. She's like, whenever I'm out of here, I want to be cremated. That was her big thing.
So why wasn't she cremated? Why didn't you cremate her?
Great question.
If she wasn't murdered, why was she picked?
But she wasn't.
Okay, according to what you say, and you say you were there, I'm trying to give you...
She says that so resolutely because she thinks that in her delusion, it's like not murder, it's justified. But then she'll go straight up to the court and lie and say, accidental deaths happen, or, you know, overdoses happen. Like, the switch between delusion and straight up liar is like insane. But I still want to say, I stand by this, that Lori has a long history of delusion, enjoying fantasy. And something else to remember, Chad was like a Mormon end of days fantasy writer. So here's this woman that loves fantasy stuff, loves religion, and she meets a religious fantasy writer that essentially wants to sleep with her.
Can you imagine, as a mother, you're a father now, so imagine you come in and find 2 of your children deceased.
So they just died out of nowhere.
Here we go.
I didn't say that.
You come home, or whatever, and both your kids are dead. And then what? You just never tell me what happened? Or you never tell anybody anything? I'm trying to understand you.
You can't, because you can't imagine what that is like. You can't even imagine, you know how much I love those kids. You know how much I've put into them. You know how much I've done everything to protect them. You know how much I've done everything to get Tylee every kind of help, fought in every kind of court to keep her safe, fought in every kind of hospital so they wouldn't do a whole bunch of horrible stuff to her when she was sick all the time. You know what I did for them.
I know.
So you imagine walking in, finding them, and they had been gone for hours. And when I came in, and I knew Tylee had been upset, and I knew that she was upset with me that weekend. So I asked her to babysit JJ, put him to bed that night, which is what she always has done. I was going to do my podcast with stupid Melanie and Dave, right? So JJ wouldn't interrupt it. And then I was picking him.
Holy shit. Lori calling Melanie Gibbs stupid Melanie and Dave is so funny. They had a podcast. It was a fringe religious podcast on the Preparing a People Network. That is the craziest name I've ever heard. And Melanie ultimately ended up turning on Lori and really ratting out. Not ratting anything. I can't even call it ratting out because she killed her kid. What is that? She is supposed, right? Melanie ended up telling the police everything, and Lori being so pissed about that she says, and I did my podcast with stupid Melanie is actually so funny.
I was going to do my podcast with stupid Melanie and Dave, right? So JJ wouldn't interrupt it.
Bitch, sorry, I'm about to go the f off right now because that just pissed me off so much. One of the things that I talked about in the Sinister episode, she just said, I'm doing my podcast so that JJ wouldn't interrupt it. Let me tell you something. This stupid fucking podcast has mostly been wiped off of the internet. In the background of it, it is Lori sitting with her crazy friend Dave and her crazy friend Melanie, and they're talking about the end of days. And the whole time, you can hear a in the background. Every episode. Just... I think we might have put a clip of it in Sinister. You can hear a bird. And then you can also just hear a dog that's in the room. The dog is barking. The dog is walking around. The dog is doing whatever. You recorded a podcast in a room with a parrot, but you have the audacity to say, well, you gotta get the podcast done so that JJ doesn't bother you. But he's in bed. He's in bed. Like, that's just bullshit. That is just bullshit, man.
And when I came in on that scene, and they were gone, I thought Tylee did it to get back at me. I thought it was all my fault.
Here.
She was mad at me, and that's what had happened. And the reason why she visited me and why JJ visited me and came to me right after that is because to tell me that it wasn't my fault because I was blaming myself 100%.
JJ's life and then took her own life.
On accident.
And took her own life then? So who shot and burned her? And who abducted JJ and put her on the ground?
When somebody's lying to me or gaslighting me like they're confused, it is one of the most disorienting, sickening feelings in my life. And to combine that with the fact that he's talking about the death of his two siblings at the hands of his own mother, I can't imagine. If you approach a conversation with a completely unruly or delusional or shitty person, and you approach it as your absolute best self, and you know you did your best, you can hang up the towel as much as possible to know that it's not your fault and you aren't the problem. But when we're still getting triggered by these people and we're not emotionally in our best spot, it can feel like, God, I gotta do that again. I gotta try that again. I gotta not let them get to me this time. So, and he's presenting really, really well.
You're telling me Tylee took JJ's life, then took her own life, and then someone cremated her by dismembering her and burning her and throwing her in a pet cemetery, and then somebody bound JJ, put him in a trash bag, and threw him in the backyard.
What I'm saying is I wasn't aware what happened to them after I left that scene.
Okay, so you gave it to someone else. You gave the responsibility to someone else, is what you're saying.
I did. I just ran out. I just.
So you're saying someone else took care of the situation.
I'm telling you that their spirits were gone from their bodies at that time. They were gone. They were already in heaven. They were already gone. Correct.
So you're saying that they were gone, and why, if that's the case, then why wouldn't you just tell us? What was the secrecy for?
I didn't want anyone to know what Tylee had done to JJ, and I wanted to continue to protect Tylee.
Shut up.
Her mother, who has to be fighting to protect her whole life. Like, this is my scenario. Colby, what if Tylee holding JJ down for too long, trying to get him to not scream and be loud in the apartment, which she was always upset about. We weren't in a big house anymore. We were in these tiny little apartments, and he was loud. And what if she held him down too long and realized afterwards what she had done? What if she had come running to me and told me what she had done? Right? That it was an accident? Do you not think that I would have told police that I did it to save Tylee? Because you know that I would have. This is why I only wanted to tell you privately. I didn't want to tell the world what went on. I didn't want to tell the world that Tylee stopped taking her medication 2 weeks before that. She was on anti-anxiety medication, anti-depression medication. She was on a medication for panic attacks, and she was on birth control so her ovarian cysts wouldn't be bad. She was on.
Sounds like Tylee had a tough life. The child was on medication for her panic attacks. Why is she having panic attacks? What type of environment is she in? Sounds like a normal child with anxiety. Okay, that's what it sounds like. I mean, shit. How many of us went to a counselor when we were teenagers? This doesn't make you a demon. It's just crazy.
You're telling me that all of this is to protect my sister's name because of what she did. Is that what you're saying?
In my mind, yes.
Okay.
Can I just say, he's doing a really good job. I'm not even in this, and I'm triggered, and he is the closest person in the world to this entire situation right now. And he's just doing a really good job. I could never.
I've talked to the prosecutors. I've looked at a lot of what they've shown me, and Tylee was so brutally mistreated after her death that it wasn't even human.
Well, I'll tell you something about what I know about the minute, and because of my own experience of being outside of my body, right? You could care less what happens to your body after you die. You could care less.
Okay, hold on.
And I know people on Earth are really worried about it.
I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry.
I get it.
I don't want to know.
I did not intend for that to be done to
It's
her.
the most brutal thing I've ever heard in my life. It's the most brutal thing I've ever heard in my life. So I don't want to go over that, really. JJ was found fighting his bag that he was put in. So did Tylee held him down too long or put a bag over his head? Because that was the evidence that JJ was being suffocated by somebody.
That is not the case. So when I found those, my little precious babies.
Oh my God. How can you say that?
There was no bag. There was no tape. There was nothing of that. They were just gone.
Change your max.
I wanted to tell you, and you're the only person I wanted to tell, and I wanted that to be privately.
Okay, well,
The only person I deserve to know.
that can't just be something private, Mom. That's not something you can just tell me that I would just be accepting and understanding of. You have to understand that. I would never agree.
I
with you. I would never bury my siblings in some random dude's backyard, even if that's what happened. Which I'm gonna be honest with you. I hope you can understand because I wanted to be respectful enough to listen to what you said. I've really tried to listen and study what you said, and based off of everything that I've been shown, that they were both murdered, and that's what you said didn't happen. So I think that we're not going to get anywhere there. I think that's just, I wanted to hear what you had to say because you said you were there, and you said those were your children, and those were my siblings. But I can't sit here and say that I agree with you at all. I don't think that's what happened. No, you know, it's just not what I think happened based off of
when we all get to heaven, you know. That's what I can tell you. I can't tell you anything different.
Right,
No.
no.
I can't tell anybody anything different. I don't care what anybody thinks. Really, like, they weren't there, they don't know, so...
Okay, well, that's what you meant then on that phone call.
That's what it is. It is what it is.
You told me on that phone call that I would know, and you said you don't know, and I definitely listened to that phone call again because I was so hurt because it sounded like you were just giving me a middle finger, and you said F you.
I wasn't, honey. I wanted to tell you. The attorneys told me, don't say anything on your call. Nothing. Don't ever say anything. They pound that into you know, from day one. Like, so you're asking me, and I'm like, I can't tell you on this phone call, but I want to tell you.
You know, for Lori being told not to say anything, she sure is talking a lot. And I mean, like, she talks a lot at her sentencing. She just talks a lot. She rambles. Shit, Lori might talk more than me.
But I wanted you to have that for your own peace. That's it. For your own peace of mind. You know Tyler better than anybody on earth except for me. You did. You lived it with me.
One, you love Tylee the most. You know Tylee so much. You know her really well. Dude, what's interesting to me is I'm starting to think that Lori genuinely believes that Tylee being a kid that had panic attacks and needs extra support made her demonic. I'm like starting to believe that she genuinely thought like this child's not Christ-like or something because she keeps coming back to it. Like sometimes Lori straight up lies, but does anyone get what I'm saying? Like how she really keeps going back to that with conviction as though it is grounds for what she has done. Like she's so serious about it. Like, you know, like it matters, dude.
I think that I've noticed you say you have a lot of these enemies, and that you have believed to be a very big usher into the second coming and Jesus and all these things. So I'm wondering, do you feel that you are this person who's lived multiple lives and is here to do this thing to usher in Jesus' coming? Is that what all of this hardship on your part is? Is that why you think you're going through so much hardship? Is that you are that person?
What do you remember me telling you about my experiences in the temple? I told you personally. I only told a few people personally, and they've gone really wild with these stories, so I'm asking you what you remember what I told you personally.
All I remember is your biggest claim is that you had seen Jesus personally, and that he had talked to you, and that he was on your side.
Let's go back for a second. We have seen the lies. We've seen the manipulation. That right there is delusion. Okay? Two things can both be happening at the same time. Lori genuinely believes that Jesus is talking to her. She's speaking about this matter of fact. She says, my experience in the temple. Most of us do not think that Jesus is speaking directly to us as some type of omnipotent servant or angel that has been placed here on earth and is having, sometimes there's, oh, I heard, you know, God told me to do this or something like this. Lori believes that God and Jesus, they are transmitting messages to her, and she is a sacred person, and she fully, wholly believes it.
And he said, will you do this job if you lose everything? This was in 2017. And then he said, will you do this job if you become like Job?
Oh.
That's what he asked me.
Oh.
When he was right there with me,
No.
and those wonderful, heavenly, peaceful feelings.
Yo, anybody else just be like, Lori, you are not about to compare yourself to Job. Not my man Job. Job went through it, okay? Job, and you are not Job. You are not. Yo, look, everybody has that period of time where they're going through a hard time in life and they think, damn, I get it now, Job. I get it. Lori comparing herself to Job as a faithful servant of God that was handed all these plagues that she didn't deserve, and her riches are going to come soon. That, her thinking that is crazy.
I lost everyone, and including you, which was really the hardest loss of all to me. Because you were my friend for 24 years. And losing you over the past 4 years was harder on me than even losing the kids.
Your child should not be your best friend, and to sit here and act like you don't care about JJ and Kylie and but Cody, you're my best friend. Oh, come on, man. Like, just give him the survivor's guilt cape. Okay, Lori? Just hand it right to him.
So weeks after I had this visit with Jesus in the temple, I was in JJ's room at the big house where you got married. And Lucifer was standing right in front of me. And he said to me, I know who you are. I know exactly who you are. And I will stop you.
That sounds like Lori talking to herself. Sounds like one part of the brain, one part of the psyche, something coming online. And that's what I'm talking about. She's having mental health issues and then being like, this is God and the devil inside of my brain. No. You also needed to go to the therapist. You also needed some medication.
Cool thing. Jesus gave me a job.
Okay.
Lucifer has done every single thing to get me to take my own life because that is his goal. If I leave here, I cannot do my job for Jesus. Right?
Lori, honey, this is mental health. You're having suicidal thoughts. She is justifying mental health. I've been saying this from the beginning. I said it all through Sinister last week. She is saying mental health stuff, and she doesn't understand mental health stuff, so she has just integrated religion into it. She is having suicidal thoughts and is thinking, Lucifer's coming to me. And she just really believes it. And then when they come back again, she's like, not today, Satan. That's you. That's her. That is her. That is her guilt. That is her thoughts. That is her not wanting to be here because she feels so much guilt and shame. And then it's just locked back up with whatever voice she has appointed to be God in her head.
And he's taken everything away from me like he took away from Job. The only thing wasn't allowed to do to Job is what?
Kill him.
He wasn't allowed to kill Job himself, right?
Yep.
But he was allowed to do everything to make Job want to kill himself, right? Everything.
Right.
So it is a personal attack on my family because Jesus asked me to do a job for him.
Okay.
So that is my belief that he has taken every single thing I've ever said and twisted it. He's taken every truth and turned it into a lie, taken every lie and turned it into a truth. So yes, that is what I feel like is happening.
Okay.
I will continue to do my job.
He's doing a good job. He's not engaging.
I have your support or not, although I would love that. And one day, everyone will know that that is true. And that's what happened.
I'll be honest with you, I've done a lot of praying. I believe dreams of me delivering you from demons.
I didn't think about that either. Colby is Lori's son. As much as you guys hate Lori, which is completely understandable, any child's dream in this scenario would be to save their mom, for sure. At least to get them out of this, to get them to understand what they did, to get them to understand that they were sick. And so that part makes me really sad. There's probably a part of her that like wants to. There's probably a part of him that really wants to save his mom, and that might even be why he's doing his calls, why he's doing his podcast, or why. Yeah. Honestly, this guy Colby needs to go into doing some public speaking, doing some, I don't know if it's ministry, I don't know if it's what, because, I mean, he can walk into a room and get a lot of respect for the fact that, holy shit, your mother is a quadruple murderer that's like super famous, and you have dealt with this. You have dealt with the media. You have dealt with what she did. You have dealt with your own emotions. You're raising kids and shit. Most people are going to look at him when he walks into a room and just salute him. So I hope, I don't know, this is a lot.
When I found out what happened and I started to see everything, I gave you a call. And in that call, it was very confrontational, but I felt like I wasn't judging you. And a lot of times you said I was judging you and you think that I was with everybody else and I'm like the media. And I'm glad that I called you now because I have my head on straight. And I can tell you that after a very long time of listening to what has been in the documents, these are the things they recovered from you and from Chad and these things, it doesn't make sense to me. And none of it is biblically based. And I know you have a different viewpoint, but you and I are on completely two different ends of the line. Like, it's that different.
Guys, there is still about another like 25 and 30 minutes of the podcast on Cody's channel. We'll link it in the description, but also I want to let you know if you are super interested in this case and all the pieces of it,
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, it was 2014, and a bike taxi was driving down this remote road at night just outside of the city. And on either side of this remote road lay these crumbling, abandoned factories. Little more than cinder-block walls and crumbling metal roofs. This area had been a place of rumor for quite a long time at this point. Locals would speak about this place in hushed tones, about, the disturbing things they heard that had been happening around here. That would become a horrifying reality for this driver when he heard screaming coming from these pitch black buildings on either side of this deserted road. When he began to tell people about this, at first they didn't believe him, but he was so adamant about what he had heard that night, and people had also become worried about, well, there had been reports of a lot of people gone missing around this time. They went out there to investigate. And what they found in these abandoned factories would be pure nightmare. And one of the scariest things about this entire story is it didn't just happen here, it happened in a lot of other places. But before we get into it, please subscribe to see new stories for the dark every single week. Now, let's do the video.
We're taking Charlie.
It was on the afternoon of March 22nd, 2014, that a lot of folk were very hungry in the city called Ibadan. This is in southwestern Nigeria. Specifically, it was a group of men known as the Okada Boys. Ibadan is one of Nigeria's biggest and fastest growing cities. It truly is a lot going for it, and about 2.5 million people call it home these days. And in all of the major Nigerian cities located around here, it's a very, very big country, are these little networks of bike taxis known as Okadas. Nigeria as a whole really is a country on the move, being one of the biggest economies on the continent. And Ibadan is a prime example of the country's growing, ultra-competitive hustle culture. These days, Ibadan attracts Nigerians from all around the country, as well as an ever-increasing number of Africans coming from both the north and the south of the continent to live and work. That means, therefore, that it's very competitive and thriving job market, so entry-level jobs can be very hard to get. So, if you're just looking for work, simply, what's the easiest legal work to get? Probably being an Okada, getting this bike taxi to drive people all around the city. Okadas are usually teenagers or young men doing simple, ATV runs around the city, like short little hop jumps. Wherever you need to get it go, you jump on the back of the Okada and you're off. And for the sheer amount of Okadas, usually there's about 100 operating at one time. They are a surprisingly, close-knit, really tight community. They really always look out for each other, they take care of each other, they meet up constantly, to let them know, oh hey, there's lots of fairs going on over here. Or maybe you should, avoid that part of town, it's not too safe right now. Everybody's known to everybody else, they meet up at regular intervals, if something's going on, they put it into the group chat if something. And of course, with a lot of Nigerian law enforcement being sort of kind of hit or miss at best, the Okada network is so tight because they really have to look out for each other because they're not going to get any help or a whole lot of help outside of their own little community that they have created. So this kind of improvised union, if you want to call it that, of Okada boys, they will, play detective if one of the riders gets robbed, if one of the riders gets beaten up or threatened, they will all just join together to make sure that each one of them is safe. If there's any issues, these boys will, they'll take care of it themselves. They're their own justice system going on. You don't mess with the Okada. But it was around this time in March of 2014 that they didn't really know how to solve what was happening. They were very fearful, they were very scared, and it seemed like they were all better than that. In March of 2014, rumors of suspicious disappearances had been rumbling between the Okadas for a few weeks. It all began when 2 riders seemingly vanished, which does happen from time to time. People do simply just drop off the radar. Usually they turn up shortly after in a holding cell or even a hospital room. Others have just left for opportunities elsewhere. But to just vanish without a word and then never reappear, that was concerning. That was always going to, get people's attention, especially if you were part of this extensive but close-knit community of Okadas. They wanted to make sure that each one of their guys was good. So after those first 2 riders vanished, the Okadas of Ibadan, they began to just, keep each other in the loop about what was happening. They would report potential sightings to the other Okadas to keep an eye out when you're driving through, the myriad maze of streets and back alleys that make up this southwestern Nigerian city. And as is often the case with missing people from, poor communities, the police aren't kind of too eager to get themselves involved, so once again the Okadas were left by themselves. It seemed like a weird event, but hopefully they would just turn off and everything would be okay. But it was when a 3rd rider went missing. That's when you think the police were, they were trying to keep them in the loop. You think the police were jumping out of their chairs at this point to get involved. The trio CoD riders have all disappeared in this very short space of time. But sadly, that was not to be the case. The police still did not care. And so it was left to their friends and to their colleagues to try and solve whatever weird stuff was going on in the city. It was getting scary now. But right in this 3rd disappearance, they at least had a place to start. But the whole place to start thing kind of made it all more disturbing, to be honest with you. On March 21st, 2014, a rider was just making his usual, routes to drive his regular passengers around to their destinations when he suddenly started getting call after call after call from another boy, a colleague of his named Lanray Sedeki. Lanray was asking, can you please pick me up? The rider said, yeah, I've got a couple of jobs, I have to drive people here, here, and here, but as soon as I'm done, I'll swing around and come get you.
Watch your fire!
Lanray was nowhere to be found. He wasn't where he said he would be waiting for him. Lanray said he was referred to his disappearance, and worse yet, when the rider, went around messaging Lanray's friends and other people, who'd been in contact recently, nobody had seen Lanray. Nobody knew where he'd gone. He had simply vanished. And so, my friends, speaking of hidden things in the creepiest of places, there's something out there doing just that. But they ain't into witchcraft or some such. They're in to you, tracking and finding you to do Lord knows what with that information. So it's important to remain untraceable. But how would one do this? Well, one simple answer. You've got to get the greatest VPN out there. That is NordVPN, who are sponsoring this whole video. Nord makes sure I'm not tracked because it hides my IP address. So rather than being able to trace where I am on my computer, I can be instead anywhere in the world I want to be. So not only will you for supporting that tracker. Now let's get back to this horrifying story.
We're taking Bravo.
The very next day, which was Saturday, March 22nd, 2014, as Lanray's friends and colleagues and his family were going around Ibadan looking for him, another Okada boy from Ibadan got a call from Lanray. But this call immediately sent chills down their spine. He was utterly distraught, crying, pleading down the end of the line. He managed to calm himself enough to say that he had been kidnapped. He was being held with almost a dozen others in some location. He didn't exactly know where it was, but he said he was being held with these other folk underground. He said it was pitch black down there. We could barely see anything, and this was not good. Lanray had been, and he'd been searched by his captors, and they had found his phone and taken it away. But Lanray, being an Okada boy, needing a phone constantly to do routes and do rides, and there's not exactly a phone charger on his little bike taxi. Lanray had a second phone, but after his captors found the first one, they didn't bother to check if he had a backup cell phone. So that's when he was thankfully able to make the call to his friends rescue. So Lanray told his friends he was being held in a basement or some kind of underground shelter type thing, and there was others here too, and the others looked like they'd been held here for quite a long time. Some of them were missing limbs, even many of them were just malnourished. They looked like they'd been starved for weeks. Lanray didn't know what exactly was happening, but he did know that he only had a limited amount of time before his captors came back for him. He was also against the clock because his cell phone, the battery was done.
Right, KSI's a fucking douchebag. Who knew? Let's go down.
I actually didn't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well,
Not
so
really.
I didn't either. When he teamed up with Logan Paul and started doing all this stuff with him, I was like, what's going on with
I
this
guess.
guy?
Yeah, it's
Right.
not a good
I
look.
started to have like questions about the guy. And well, let me show you. So I went on a whole rant on last week. I was like, KSI's blocking everybody. And people like him are ruining YouTube because just think about every day, bro, and how much fun everyone had. And now nobody's like, nobody has that privilege. And sure enough, it was almost immediately blocked. Now, thank you to YouTube, by the way, who I'm so fucking proud of for finally entering this option. But before, if somebody blocked you, you had to dispute it, and it took like 5 days to unblock it.
Right.
But now they give you the option. They say you can go straight to the DMCA phase where if they want to take it down, they have to DMCA you, and we'll remove the block.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to do that option, and the video went back up immediately. But it's still claimed, and they're trying to block it. So it's still claimed. And
Yeah, it's like red on the back. It's not even like yellow. It's like red still.
that's just copyright.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, which usually means that it's
Oh, yeah, because usually they'll just claim the rev,
right.
and then that goes to an escrow account. But if you're being really malicious, like they are being, you can just demonetize the video,
Right.
knowing that you're gonna lose.
So it's unblocked, but it is demonetized.
We're making. I'm absolutely fucked
Yeah.
no money from our entire day's work.
From our entire boys' night that didn't happen.
Where did that?
So fucked up.
So if I get mad about this stuff all the time, but from someone like KSI, who's an OG YouTuber, I expect better. And I made a story about it.
Lost the lead.
Here it is. KSI. Did a story about it. And I said, fuck this shit, to be honest, KSI. I didn't even think it was that story. I was more like... Right? I wasn't saying like, fuck you. I was saying...
Switching max.
It's not. We're not even pinning it on him.
Right.
It's like in general, it's like this is fucking wrong.
We're just like, the door's open. If you fix it, like we're all
Wasted
good.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, to be honest, I wrote it the first time more like, fuck this guy, like more inflammatory, and I wrote it up because I was like, I don't know the deal. Just say fuck this. And I did. And then for some reason, like 3 days later or something, his only response is this: cry more pussy, womp womp.
Wow.
Throw in Semtex.
Cry more pussy, womp womp. Now, what does that tell you about things? What does that tell you about
Friendly SAE on the way.
kind of like his intentionality or...
I mean, exactly. It tells me cry more.
Friendly cruise missile
Like,
deployed.
this is not changing. This is what I want. Kind of.
Yeah, he's saying, I blocked you, bitch. Fuck you. I closed the door behind you.
Taking
Nobody
fire.
gets to enjoy the YouTube that I came up on. And by the way, KSI came up doing reaction videos. That's literally what he fucking did. And reacting to every day, bro, and all this shit. So for him to send me cry more pussy, womp womp, absolutely.
Sniper stun.
So deranged. I don't even know what to say it. And so, like, who thinks this is cool or funny? Like, he knew I was gonna
Stun
post
incoming!
this, so like, who? Is he just angry that everybody hates his fucking song and his dumbass lunch leads and crime and everything? I mean, also he has no hairline. Like he has a negative hairline. And I don't think this guy's gonna survive. I don't think his hairline's gonna survive this encounter with me.
Uh-oh. Tread lightly, KSI.
So, okay, you know I got fired up for that. You typically block videos critical of you, or is that a new thing since you became friends with Logan?
Semtex out.
Then I
Changing max.
Googled, KSI reacts to Everyday Bro, knowing for sure he's done like 1,000 views. Fair enough.
Reloading.
Result, easy, no problem. Reacting to Jake Paul's new song. 50 million views. That's good for him. I didn't make any money from mine because of his scumbag ass. Not because he comes up ever benefited
for you,
from,
I was
right?
around.
But now that you're on the other side of the fence, it turns out you're actually the giant pussy. You're the giant pussy.
You.
Because he can't handle the
You
curse. So who's the giant pussy if you're blocking people shitting on you, you dumb bitch? God, he's such an obnoxious fool.
And pussy too.
Also, if anybody
enemy's
even
taking the
really
lead.
watched, they would know that by the end, it didn't just like a tiny bit. It was cringe. But you fought
Switch it back.
for a second.
We all
I know
saw
you
it.
did.
We saw the bob.
Yeah, go back, watch that bob.
We saw the bob.
It was a sweet bob.
You were bopping, Ethan.
It wasn't.
You weren't smiling, but you were
I
bobbing.
admit I was bopping, but it wasn't
Check your bloody.
just any beat.
Right.
Change your backs.
The music just lives in you.
Understand beat.
So, and then he responded to me again. Oh, so I was still raging.
Bastard.
I said I have nothing but disdain, and this is true. After everything I've been through,
Push them back.
I felt the need to say this. After being told cry more pussy. I have nothing but disdain for cowards like KSI that built their entire platform reacting to content only to turn around and block others to do the same to them. KSI literally made it reacting to others' work. Now he wants to close the door behind him. After various lawsuits, I've spent millions of dollars and hundreds of hours. Sharing this type of bullshit can't happen on YouTube. And then for the offender to be one of our
UAV
own.
active.
He's spitting in the face of the community that made him. I've always wondered why KSI would team up with Logan Paul for anything, considering what a serial scammer and irredeemable psychopath he is. Why have all your pets died, Logan? And thank you, Hila. But
It was just so unrelated, but kind of related.
you really think I'm funny, don't you?
Throw in Semtex.
The enemy holds the lead. Clock ticker.
Take an effective
After all
fire.
these years. That's what's up, you guys.
Wow.
Who was on first? But now I can see why. They're both scumbags. Its only interest is fleecing their audience for as much money as possible. And thanks for the weeks of content now, bitch. Yeah, whatever.
Probably not a week.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably
Enemy KIA.
half-hour segment or so.
So then, apparently, this is his manager.
Oh.
Proper loud music. Mams? Whose name is Mams?
I don't know. This person apparently. It's probably just their name, right?
Maybe,
So he responded.
maybe a UK thing? Could it be slang?
Probably.
Yeah, the UK get an urge. It's a mom's thing.
Well, it's not really.
It's a mom's thing, my boy.
It's not really UK.
Hey now, brother.
Semtex out.
Oi now, brother. It's a mom's thing. Good. Why not now? I love
Change your
the good
backs.
song.
Yeah. Yeah. KSI should take some pointers from our boy.
He says, "You fucking idiot." The label decides. Not KSI. If anything, he always pushes for the opposite, just as we are doing now. So according to him, by the way, these messages are, it says from today. So clearly doing damage control. He says, "Can we unblock these reaction videos, please? I previously sent a list of white lists, but can we add that?" And we don't block the song when it leaks, but we block valuable reaction. Makes no sense, he says. And then Austin from Atlanta says we're on it. That'd be really cute if my video still wasn't blocked and demonetized. After what?
Right.
How long has it been now? Like several
Throw in
days.
Semtex.
It was on Friday afternoon that I got blocked.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Reloading.
3.5 days. So like, what are you guys even trying to do exactly? I responded to this fuckhead. I said, "Roll, suck my dick, bitch." I'm sorry, but this dude thinks I'm dumb. Like I was born yesterday. I'm an OG YouTuber at this point too. You know, I have that fucking type.
So you're saying when you click on that image, it would it showed at the top that these were all messages from that day?
Well, whenever he screenshotted it, it said today.
Yeah, I'm sure he screenshotted it for
Yeah, it says
his tweet in order to prove it.
Yeah, it says today.
Right, so he's only doing it after
Push your
they got
bloody
knocked
fire.
out. Yeah.
But also, can you quote the
Hold on.
maybe
Hold on.
The screenshot says Saturday, October 5th.
Wait.
No,
Saturday,
I saw
October
one that
5th.
said today.
It says it right here.
where?
Here,
In the screenshot.
I'll send you the exact link.
Hold on.
Semtex
Okay,
out.
well, so so much. I guess that's really helped out. What are the chances that you literally...
Bollocks!
Listen, at the end of the day, my video's still blocked and fucking demonetized.
Yeah, that speaks for itself.
Like, I don't know what this... I don't really give a fuck what's in the screenshot.
So it's
Oh, yeah, it does say October.
Saturday, and is that when that was happening?
No, that's like the previous weekend. That's before our episode.
Oh,
They supposedly have been unblocking since a week prior to our episode airing.
okay.
But it instantly blocked.
Instantly blocked and demonetized.
I mean, it still doesn't
and is
really
still.
add up.
And is still. These guys are stealing, taking from my pocket thousands of dollars.
Mission failed.
I have,
Return to
you know,
base.
it's fucked up.
Yeah, and they have like specific tools to set it like, oh, how much of this video is being used.
Let me read this because that's what I get into next.
Yeah.
I said, suck my dick, bitch. You don't get to hide behind that excuse because KSI is an old school YouTuber and he knows how this shit works. There's a million different settings you can choose that will prevent people ripping videos while still allowing reactions. Mams Taylor, who the fuck that is. KSI, you should be looking for a new manager because this dude obviously lied to you and said the song and video were good. So here's what Love was trying to say is that when I started posting videos, I realized like there's actually a lot of tools for copyright owners. You can specify it to the point of being like, only if it's 100% of the video will we claim it. Does it use 50%? You can manually say the number. Does it use 50% of the video? Does it use 3% of the video?
That's what I was gonna ask you to explain. Okay.
You have all of that. So clearly...
To the people that say, oh, it's not KSI, it's the label.
This will sort you out fast.
That doesn't...
No, it's bullshit.
It's
He's been
bullshit.
putting out music long enough. Like, everybody can tell their label what to do, and they'll
Right.
do it. I've seen it a million times. People come here all the time. They tell their label, dude, unblock the...
True, it's not his first song.
And why has it been like 3.5 days and it's still blocked? Although it sounded like it was his first
Especially if
song.
they were already on it like a week before that,
Exactly. And they're talking about white lists and shit like this. There shouldn't be a white list.
Right,
There should
why is
just
there
be
a white list?
Yeah, that
like,
doesn't doesn't
just
make
for
any
your
sense.
friends, like Logan and whoever you want.
Yeah.
And just to clear, when I say it's 100% of the video, I'm not even talking about, so you can do their video, but like of our video.
Yeah.
So of our video, the reaction to his video probably made up like what, like 0.05%?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for their settings to pick up on that, it had to be set to block any
mention or any play on the song, like even a short part, will get the whole shit playing, which is insane.
blocked,
And blocked,
which is even worse.
which is super malicious because they're not even saying like, oh, just give us some money. They're just saying we can't do this shit.
Jaws said this feels like Charlie talking about cookies.
What? What are you yapping about, bro?
Well,
How the fuck is this like Charlie talking about cookies? First of all, this affects. I'm answering to this is stupid because I know you're just being an idiot. This affects me directly. This man stole thousands of dollars from my pocket, blocking my video, and it's preventing other people from making content about his dumb fucking song, which is
Meanwhile-
what they're doing. Are you kidding me?
Meanwhile, somebody said in the chat, he himself is watching other people react to his song, right?
Oh God, you know what? I would have blocked that shit if he wrapped it up. He didn't though. He left me out because he's mad at me.
well, so when other YouTubers put out
Changing
music
back.
through labels, like he's with Atlantic,
Yes.
is their music normally claimed?
So if you're like a traditional musician, I think the default setting is probably just to block.
But YouTuber no.
But KSI, again,
Well, he's in the know.
he's a YouTuber.
Like he's been
releasing music on YouTube for probably a decade. Like, just shut the fuck up. And once again, it's still blocked.
Yeah, and he should have he shouldn't have said cry more. That's like,
Cry. And then what am I supposed to make from that?
and then you're like, oh, so you're not on my side.
He wasn't like, sorry, you know,
Yeah.
I'll get my team on it. Cry more, bitch. Womp womp. Cry more pussy. Womp womp.
Yeah, he could have said like, yeah, we're on it. We've been trying to fix this issue for a week.
Well, if he says cry more, then I'm like, oh, he's doing this maliciously.
Yeah.
Right.
And obviously, right? I mean, it's so annoying that it's not monetized. Like, it's so fucked up.
Yeah, he's clearly not trying very hard.
I mean, in my opinion, he probably told him the opposite.
Take your
Probably
time.
like, just let it expire. Let it expire closely. And then fully fucked.
It's possible.
In fact, I wonder if we could, I get ahead of myself.
I know what you're thinking about.
So, what a fucking loser that guy is, huh? Let's see. Also, the video's still blocked or demonetized. The only reason it's stuck is because I know how the law works and probably got a notification. Fuck. Oh yeah, then he responded. Crying emojis. Too long, didn't read. Ow, I just poked myself in the eye.
Taking
Pull
fire!
that. Somebody pull that.
Changing back!
Seriously. I'll pull it.
Oh, baby.
It says too long, didn't read. It's not that long, though. Can you not read? It's an Instagram story, dude.
Already pulled the label.
It's too long, didn't read. Label strikes videos, not me. Shut up, bitch. I know the fuck how it works. Dumb. I'm not born yesterday. I've been on this platform for a long ass time. Back when you were sending me DMs talking about how much you love my videos, you little bitch.
You were always a fan at one point.
Yeah.
Maybe he wanted you to love him.
Let's be real though. I think at a certain point, there was like a couple years where I was
Planting charge!
What'd you say?
There were years on YouTube where everybody was a fan of ours.
And then you stared at me.
I didn't even look at you.
You were staring at me.
Why?
Because you wanted to see how I react.
I did not fucking look at you, dude. The world does not start and stop around your...
I agree, but in this instance, you were looking directly at me as you said that.
Okay, well, what?
I'm taking fire!
You wanted...
You're still waiting for an answer. You're stewing on me.
Well, I know. Well, it's not an answer because I know it's true.
We have an active field
There was
upgrade
2
here.
years
Then why
where
are you
everybody
looking into me for validation?
I don't need your validation. I know it's true. Every single one of you, not you, but every creator, they looked up to me. They cherished my work. I inspired them. I had people sending me messages.
Hostile cluster mine detected.
What's his name?
I don't know. What is his name?
People sending me messages. You inspired me to come back to you. Thank you for everything you did. It's true, Regula.
Hostiles hold every objective.
Screen guns.
Objective Bravo secure.
But anyway, that didn't live forever, obviously. And now everybody hates me. We've done it both ways.
We're taking Alpha.
Label strikes videos not. He's eluded me. Already told the label when you posted the story about I enjoyed the crash out. Maybe fucking didn't, you liar, bitch. Still blocked. It's still demonetized.
And again, I already pulled the label, so he saw it and then had the reaction. According to him, he saw this, texted his label, was like, "Hey, unblock this video," and then went back to you and said, "Haha, cry more, please."
Yeah.
Womp womp. It doesn't make any sense. Like what he's saying.
And I'll tell you what actually happened. He realized that he's gonna look really bad for breaking this taboo, right, of not blocking other people's reactions. We had to go back and be like,
Oh my god, who plays like this in MP? Fucking pussy.
Though once again,
Taking Charlie.
don't fucking block.
But this is not consistent because he's saying I told the label when you posted the story. You guys are saying that screenshot was like a week before that.
The manager apparently told Atlanta.
Go to Warzone if you want to play like a little fucking rat.
I told them the minute he saw my story. They're coming at him on all sides, and somehow they just can't get these guys out.
Yeah.
So, in short, KSI is an enemy of the show. He's a scumbag, and I hope everybody hates him. Like, genuinely, bro.
I don't hate him yet.
Yeah.
I have to be honest.
I mean, hey,
my shit's so wrong.
No, yeah. I said yet.
It might resolve it.
Don't hate him yet.
Well, whether it resolves or not, I'm never getting the money back of the ads he had turned off since the second published.
That's true.
It doesn't go
wait.
There's no extra because they turned off monetization.
Right.
There's no ads. Fuck.
We're losing Alpha.
Yeah.
I hate when I get throat shit. It's the
You should
worst.
send you a Rolex. That's the
This is
only way to
fun.
move forward.
Send me a check.
Objective Alpha is compromised.
And a handwritten
Mosquito
apology.
is online.
And a lock of his hair being valuable because it's the last one he's gonna have.
Yeah.
There's more.
There's more?
There's more?
You want to
Yeah, of course there's more. Look, 5 years ago, this motherfucker tweeted this shit out. This goofy ass bitch
Securing Objective Alpha.
said, if you want to use our music and YouTube videos
Fucking hate
or
this
anything
map.
else, then go ahead. We ain't on that copyright bullshit or claiming bullshit. We out here letting everybody eat good. This is a new age. We're fully independent, so we make the rules. Enjoy the album. I mean, you're really gonna put a declaration like that into the world and be like, sorry, it's the label. The label blocks, bro. Duh.
Well, it sounds like at the time he wasn't on a label because he probably couldn't get a record deal, but now he's big enough he was able to
So
get
what,
that.
he's big time now and then he doesn't care about this?
I agree. It's very hypocritical. It's not
disgusting.
Cool. It's
You need to be consistent
Suck.
to your values.
It does suck. I'll take that, Dan. Take that. Dan's trying to downplay this heinous crime against humanity. Absolutely heinous. Dumb bitch. Not you.
No, I got it.
And then, once again, I mean, say no more, and I'll say no less. I saw this. I said, this man's hairline is not going to survive this battle.
That one's crazy.
People have been making fun of him for this for a while. This man is not bald.
That's wild. That's way back there.
He does have a lot of hair, though. Like,
Yeah, it's weird. It's genuine.
think that's just his
It's the
hairline.
hairline
It's just
itself.
way
Yeah.
far back.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know?
So I don't know if it's a valid criticism because it was probably always like that.
Well, we'll see. We start measuring now.
We watch the progress from this point on.
And I don't know how much further we can go, but we'll find out about it. I mean, I don't know. What a dome, though.
Boom. This fucker's hairline is cooked.
He's got the hairline of like a 5-year-old. Like if his head was this big, it would work. In this case,
Like extra salty tonight.
All right.
Good thing no one's watching.
Trump ahead on economy, inflation, and immigration. Harris ahead on healthcare and cares about people like you. Ugh, God damn, they're so bad. Trump stands up for the American worker by 47. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is a messaging failure on all fronts, dude. This is a communication disaster. Oh my God. Trump stands up for the American worker. He literally had a pathetic man-child, billionaire, narcissistic man-baby do an interview of him, glazing him, and they talked about firing striking workers. Like gleefully, they laughed about it. Yeah, immigration and border security, 52%. Best able to handle. Why? Why is it that only 36% of Americans believe Kamala Harris is best to handle immigration and border security, whereas 52% think Trump is better? Well, the answer is simple. It's because the Democrats have completely dropped the ball on the issue of immigration. They are captive to
Democrats
right-wing
are
framing
fucking
on the
stupid.
matter. And when you are telling everyone that your
Literally,
opponent
like,
is right on the
stealing-
matter, they're going to go with your
what is
opponent, who
victory
has
from
always
the
been right on the matter
positive?
then. Greg Sargent, staff writer at the New Republic. News, Dems are seriously second-guessing some of the strategies of the biggest pro-Harris super PAC Future Forward. They worry outreach to young and non-whites is faltering and think Trump was able to rehabilitate his favorables too easily. No way. What? How? I'm so confused. I'm just some fucking dumbass Twitch streamer. What the fuck do I know? I'm always in my hug box. I'm always in my fucking living room. It turns out I can see certain realities from this goddamn living room in Los Angeles, California, better than these fucking excellent expert analysts do. I've been saying this for months. I know Harris Staver, the whole campaign, she was just living her best life and thrilled by the record-breaking donos, totally put the car before the horse. Yeah, it's funny because the record-breaking donos came because Kamala Harris represented a change and a response to public pressure. That swap out was why she got this momentum. All of a sudden, these same demographics that were primed, that were embarrassed to have to go out and vote for this old man running up against an old man as well, were like, oh shit, this is good. This is new. We like this. We're going to gift you. We're going to give you positive reinforcement. You gave us what we wanted. And then they looked at that and were like, oh yeah, let's just fuck this entire thing up. Okay, let's just fuck it up. I said when I went to the DNC, I was like, they're doing victory laps for no reason. This is a close race. What are y'all doing?
The candidate of Hope and Change trying to convince voters that the sitting vice president can take the country in a new direction.
We are ready for a
Hope and Change.
story.
Fucking Obama didn't change shit.
Work together instead of turning against each other. Pennsylvania, we're ready for a President Kamala Harris.
The American people stop getting duped. They smile. Confident.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a hard bargain, man. It's hard to fucking convince people of this message when the candidate herself every goddamn day on television is like, I love Republicans. I am a Republican. I'm very fond of Republicans. I've never thought of myself as a liberal Democrat. I am actually pleased. Do not ever bring up the fact that I ran for Medicare for all in the doomed primary campaign. I want Republicans to literally vote for me. I want Republicans to be in my administration. It's my favorite. Hope and change. We're changing the Democratic Party, just not in the direction that you want it to be changed. We're changing the Democratic Party in the direction of the Republican Party. And in that process, she has also copied the Mr. Beast policy. In Scottsdale, Arizona, Harris says she wants to create a bipartisan council of advisors to come back on policy. Mr. Beast, if I were president, I wouldn't care about party lines. I'd just always truly make the American people my #1 priority. The problem is I'm ignorant of you. I'd have experts from the left and right advise me on them and try to find the middle ground that's best for America. Like, for example, do we deport every single person that I have suspected as being Latino? Or do we deport, like, I don't know, 50% of them, give or take? Or other issues like, do we do permanent genocide and also annex the West Bank? Do we let Israel do permanent genocide in Gaza and also simultaneously take up southern Lebanon and also annex the entirety of the West Bank? Or do we let Israel do permanent genocide in Gaza? That's going to happen. Also let them have a permanent military occupation in southern Lebanon. But also then, maybe we won't let them annex West Bank yet. Bipartisan consensus in issues such as this, we have to find that. I was focused on you the person instead of dividing. Anyways, we can pick this up in 15 years when I'm old enough to run, haha. Well, good thing we have Kamala Harris to take up that mandate. Wonderful stuff on that front. Also, here's some more concessions to the Republicans. Remember Colin Aldridge? Well, he came out with a response ad against Ted Cruz's super PAC, hitting the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris on being pro-trans or wanting to do bottom surgery, do bottom surgery to migrants or whatever. It's all over the place. Good thing these guys are gonna respond to that, and they're gonna be like, "This shit's weird. None of that puts food on your table. Y'all are being weird." Is that how they responded to it? Let me guess.
Ted Cruz is lying again, but now he's lying about our children. I'm a dad. I'm also a Christian. My faith has taught me that all kids are God's kids. So let me be clear. I don't want boys playing girls' sports.
Yeah, I'll kill them. I'm Colin Aldridge, and let me tell you, if you want to kill trans children, I'm your guy. Okay, we will do much better than the Republican Party. They don't even want to do. They want to do gender. They're the ones who actually want to do. Me, I don't want to do gender at all. I don't want to do woke. I'm a Republican. Vote for me, please. I'm a Republican. I'm Colin Aldridge, and let me tell you, if you want someone to come into your schools and do Penis Inspection Day, I'm there. I'm first up. I'm on the line. Actually, you know what? I just wrote a bill. We're doing Penis Inspection Day. The Democrats are going to put it forward. The Republicans are going to block it because the Democrat is doing it. And then we're going to turn around and act like, the Republicans are woke and want to do gender. We hate gender. The Democrats don't f this up challenge. Colin Aldridge, have my unread text for some reason. Lights your mom's house on fire saying trans girls are boys. Cruz +5. The Chad Andy Bashar. Election year veto of anti-trans bill. Executive order banning conversion therapy. Wins Kentucky. All children are children of God. Pick your poison. There is a method. It literally works. Turns out when you communicate in a successful way that all of of this stuff is weird. Shut the fuck up about trans children. You're gross. You're dunking on like 8 people and you're harming all girls. Not just trans girls, but like cis girls too, when you implement these weird-ass policies interfering with the private affairs of private American citizens. That's a successful strategy. Waltz did a pretty good job with that. Bashar, Andy Bashar, the lion of not Syria, but Kentucky. He actually did that as well. Very successful method. Will Colin Allred utilize the successful method? No. He's going to cave the right-wing framing and be a dumbass. Because that's what Democrats are. You should vote for him. Like, if you're in Texas, of course you got to vote for this guy. What do you want? Ted Cruz? I get it. Like, I totally get it. The problem is, this kind of messaging does not help the campaign. It hurts the campaign. This way of communicating is not only bad and wrong and immoral, it's also unsuccessful. It is never going to stop the Democrats from launching this stupid-ass campaign.
Ted Cruz is lying about my record because he can't defend his own. He's done nothing to secure the border. He wants to raise
He's tagging me. He's like, yo, I'm gonna kill migrants too. I'm Colin Allred, and if you want the migrant mutilator, I'm your guy. Okay, not Ted Cruz. Just simply showing how ugly of a freak Ted Cruz is would be a better campaign than these two. Ted Cruz doesn't want to kill migrants. I do. Why would anybody not vote for a Republican at that point? The Democratic Party is not supposed to be the migrant mutilator party. It's the Republicans. When you concede on the right-wing framing that immigrants need to be immediately destroyed and killed, and they need to be mass deported by the thousands, if not the millions, if you're saying you're going to be the party to do that, no one is going to believe you. They're going to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go for the real anti-migrant party then. Great. Are you just exaggerating or joking around when he says secure the border and you jump to killing migrants and mass deportation when he supports a path to citizenship and tons more asylum bidding? Am I missing dumb? What matters is what he's communicating. When he says he's going to secure the border, he's the securing the border candidate. Why? What are we talking about? Like, of course I'm exaggerating. I don't think he wants to kill fucking migrants directly. But the point is, you cannot outflank the Republicans on right-wing sentiments. You will never be able to do that. They will always push the needle further. When there's no security issue in general, when migrants do not constitute a threat to American national security, if you just capitulate on that framing and act like you're going to be the one to protect American borders, then you literally are saying this thing that is born out of complete falsehood is actually real. The point is that killing migrants and mass deportation is what Texas wants to do. So what do you communicate to the attackers in the right? Exactly. Do you think Texas will ever flip blue? No. Not with the current Democratic Party. Absolutely not.
Elite squads of ICE, Border Patrol, and federal law enforcement officers to hunt down, arrest, and deport every last illegal alien gang member until there is not a single one left in this country.
By the way, this is why you can't outflank the Republicans on this issue, man. Kamala Harris will come out and be like, I'm going to be the border. I'm going to be border patrol. I'm doing border patrol. You don't understand. I'm going to secure the border. Migrants. I'm going to secure it. I promise you. Maybe we'll do some more immigrant crosses in these hands. But I'm going to secure the border. Trump doesn't want to secure the border. He wants a talking point. He wants a talking point. It's like you just gave him the talking point. When you do that, he's going to turn around and be like, I'm going to kill every migrant in this country. What are you going to do about it? And all you've done in that situation is prime your audience, prime your voters into believing that there is a genuine national security problem. That's it. The idea that Mexican cartels are not threat to the U.S. is so insane it's laughable. Mexican cartels? What kind of genuine threat does the Mexican cartels constitute to the United States that you cannot actually deal with legalization and ease of access and pathways of migration by better processing, faster processing? Mexican cartels use American citizens to traffic drugs and chemical compounds necessary to make fentanyl in the United States of America, dumb fuck. It's not migrants that are trafficking the drugs in. You're pointing to a problem with the specific purpose of doing drug libel, lying about migrants. Here's another opportunity to completely gut the cartels, aside from, not directly cooperating with them, like, I don't know, maybe our agencies of espionage do on a regular frequency, who knows? But beyond that, gun control. Gun control. Where do you think they're getting the fucking weapons, dude? America. How are they getting it? Because American citizens want the drugs. How are they shipping those drugs? Americans are trafficking those drugs. Nobody said it was migrants, young sir. Nobody said it was migrants. Let me run this back again.
Elite squads of ICE, Border Patrol, and federal law enforcement officers to hunt down, arrest, and deport every last illegal alien gang member until there is not a single one left in this country.
What do you think is going on here? Are you going to do the classic, oh, well, he said gang member. Yeah, he thinks they're all gang members, you fucking idiot. He thinks every undocumented illegal alien migrant rapist with a bad gene that causes them to murder, that's poisoning the blood of the nation, needs to be mass deported. He's Adolf Hitler. And it probably sucks to recognize this for yourself, but if you agree in any way, shape, or form with this, you probably are Adolf Hitler too. That's it. And a lot of Americans have that Hitlerian dog in them, okay? In their hearts, they got that Sig Heil dog in there. Now the problem, or I guess not the problem necessarily, but like the upside of this is that they're also very stupid and simultaneously don't recognize how cruel and unusual and unnecessary this punishment is until it happens. And then they'll go, oh my God, this was so bad. Who could have guessed it? And that bears itself in the data quite a bit, because the very same Americans by 60% that say we need mass deportation now are also saying we need to set up pathways of citizenship for these undocumented migrants that are, our neighbors that are living on U.S. soil. By far the most annoying independent I talked to in Michigan, far north of the state, is Harris isn't going far enough to secure our border people. I gently asked how the border impacts them. Worst I got was, I don't want to lose a job to them. Unemployed housewife. Median voter broke by the TV media. Absolutely. The funniest part about it is that Michigan, it doesn't matter where they're at, right? They are surrounded by undocumented migrants and they like them. Every American thinks it's some other secret, shadowy, scary rapist undocumented migrant that's going to get deported, and not their fun neighbor that they like that's going to get deported in this process. That's the problem. It's the same shit that happened with abortion. There are Republicans that were like, yeah, we really do need to restrict abortion. And then it happened. They're like, oh my God, what the f***? I never thought that like my daughter might get this necessary medical treatment. Oh, this was a bad idea. Because you're stupid. You're stupid. But I also fault the Democratic Party for not actively communicating that this would be devastating, not only for just your neighbors that you take for granted and like, but also for the American economy. That's the problem. I fault the Democratic Party for not actually putting up a fight so that the Republicans can focus on tackling the things that the Democrats are doing. When Democrats move to the left, the Republicans come along with them and try to fight tooth and nail to claw back any sort of progressive momentum that the Democrats put forward. When the Democrats don't do that, they get comfortable and they act like, oh no, we're going to take this shit for granted. We're going to take these voters for granted. The Republicans can move the country further and further right. And if the Democrats go along with this right-wing attitude, with this right-wing sentiment, if they keep repeating it over and over again, they go even further right. Yeah, great example. What happened with IVF? There are some Republicans who want to ban it, but in the sea of all of this commotion about Republicans taking away people's personal civil liberties, the freedom that they once took for granted in terms of getting a medical process, routine medical procedure that is supposed to be kept between a doctor and a patient, when they interfered with that, and then some Republicans were like, we got to ban IVF too. What happened? The Republicans were like, whoa, what do you mean? I love IVF. I'm going to literally artificially inseminate my wife right now. I'm doing IVF right now. I'm coming in a sock. We're doing IVF. I love IVF. I'm the defender of IVF. That's what they said. Could you explain why abortion would be reinstated under Harris, but somehow hasn't been under Biden? Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but it looks like it's also an issue that the Dems don't want to deal with because they wanted to run on it. It's a bit of both. They didn't want to deal with it because they could potentially run on it, but they also didn't want to deal with it because they're fucking cowardly and so completely captured by mainstream narratives that you saw. That's why NPR would be like, abortion is a divisive issue. Roe v. Wade is a divisive issue. It was never a divisive issue. 75% of the public was completely committed to Roe v. Wade, so much so that every single Trump-appointed Supreme Court justice on the public record lied to the American public and said, it's a super precedent. Amy Covid Beretta literally came out and was like, oh, it's a super precedent. Like, of course we're not going to touch Roe v. Wade. And then they did. Anyway, they lied. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. You can't do shit, okay? These are appointed positions. They'll do whatever the fuck they want. Liberal framing, but what do you think about this argument? She could personally arrest and deport every Haitian immigrant in America and frack enough natural gas to render all of Pennsylvania uninhabitable. The median voter will still think she's too liberal. Just embrace it. Fighting it is a losing battle. Yeah, no, this is a little libbed up, but she's right. No, this is correct. This is why. This is why I say what I say. It's the same equation that you need to understand that it is a one-to-one with the way that people see Biden. They perceive Biden as weak. They see Biden as weak when it comes to Israel, especially, right? They see him as old, weak, and feeble. They don't think he is a strong enough leader. Donald Trump, on the other hand, they see as a strong leader. You've said this before, but focus groups have said about 5 to 8% of the economy, crime, and immigration numbers are strictly because she's a woman in black. A bunch of people don't trust her on anything because of that. I know, which is why trying to capture the coalition of voters that a racist 700-year-old white man captured is not a smart campaigning strategy. This is what I've been saying for months. I said this is going to be a 2008 Barack Obama rerun. If she does that, she's going to win. Still tries to do the Biden voters, the white suburbians, she's gonna lose. White people are racist as fuck and misogynistic. They're not gonna look at a black woman and be like, well, you know, she says she's a cop, I believe her. No, the same people that went for Joe Biden were like, yeah, he's stable, he's racist enough, I like him. They're never gonna look at a black woman and go, you know what? I'm taking this seriously. I think she's gonna be a good cop. No, she's a black woman. You know what a black woman will never be? A racist old white man, okay? She will never be Joe Biden. So why the would you bring his campaign on board to run his campaign strategy? You actually thought she had a chance? Are you nuts? She still has a chance, bro. Wake the fuck up. People despise Donald Trump. And also on top of that, Donald Trump is running a dog shit campaign. Every day of the week, Donald Trump goes out and does another stupid thing. Says another insane thing. If I'm Donald Trump, I'm desperately running away from how I lost the election. I would never talk about that. I would never bring up January 6th ever again. He can't shut the fuck up about it. Every time he says that, every single person that's like maybe in the margins goes, damn, I do remember that. That shit was kind of fucked up. He like lied about being a sore loser and then he took action. Not every Republican Party voter is primed with like primed in the same way that your QAnon uncle is. They look at that and they're like, that's a little bit much for me. I don't know. Maybe I'll stay home this time. Every single time he moves the needle even further on the immigration stuff to a degree that is like genuinely gross and racist for a lot of Americans. They're like, Americans are going, yeah, I think undocumented migrants do cause a lot of problems, but like, I don't think they're stealing cats and dogs. Maybe that's not for me. Every time he comes out and pops off, he's also hemorrhaging support. The only reason why I think Kamala Harris is in a dog shit position right now is because she's running a dog shit campaign and the polls should not be showing her this close to Donald Trump. If your opposition got almost assassinated twice and never even saw a bump, it is ridiculous that you are close in any way, shape, or form. The only reason why you're close to him is because you're running towards his vision. You are trying to implement his vision, and you're saying, I'm going to do Trump stuff, but I'm going to do it competently. I think a lot of people don't understand. Trump isn't just not liked because he's annoying and gross and chaotic. His policies are also bad, and people don't like it. They don't like how they felt when Nazis were storming in the streets. They don't like how they felt when his annoying-ass, arrogant, sweaty, unwashed, loser-ass fan base was chirping about every single thing that he said that was a complete fabrication of the truth. Like, they hated that. I hated that. I remember that shit. People forget. It's not just Trump's style that sucks, but his policies are sound. No, his policies are bad too. What the did he do for you when he cut tax for the wealthy? Yeah, sure, some dumbass Americans always are primed into believing that the Republicans are better at the economy, but that also is a genuine problem born out of the shitty communication strategies of the Democratic Party in the neoliberal era. Post Ronald Reagan, Democrats got so scared about Ronald Reagan's victory that they were like, we have to just be Ronald Reagan light every election, with one exception, and that was 2008 Barack Obama. Now the problem is he ran on a very progressive slant, and then he turned around and still did neoliberalism through and through. I guess maybe Al Gore to a certain degree as well, but Al Gore had the election stolen from him, and he didn't fight for it afterwards. So what happens when Trump wins? I'll tell you right now, okay? Donald Trump wins in November 5th. The next day, resistance libs are back. First, they're going to attack the left. They're going to be like, Muslims are the reason why Donald Trump won. Leftists are the reason why Donald Trump won. Oh, guess what? We're going to enjoy the show now. You did this to yourselves, okay? With left being deported. Then they are going to slowly but surely build the resistance liberal network. The entire networks are going to forget their coverage nonstop about how, you know, immigrants constitute a genuine national security threat, because everyone's going to start feeling the pain. They're going to start noticing that their neighbors are getting door knocked. Their neighbors are getting, you know, Vortex units in the area and being ripped apart from their family members. Their daughters are now crying on the streets because their dad is an undocumented migrant, and now he's in a fucking deportation facility. All of a sudden, everyone recognizes how bad that policy was, even though they loudly and boldly declared how good that was when 60% of the country was seemingly on board with it. We are going to get a rerun of the Trump years. That's it. That's what's going to happen. Every single liberal is first going to attack the left, and then they're going to turn around and still attack the left every now and then, but mostly start uniting under a broader progressive momentum. You'll probably see a bunch of people like Kamala Harris, unironically, also see that loud momentum and start saying abolish ICE again, only to run on pro-ICE next time the election cycle comes around. I do understand how everyone's convinced themselves the polls still don't underestimate Trump. Polling in midterm is one thing, and 2020 was still off by quite a bit. I think Trump is going to win more so than 2016, even if polling is slightly better than 2020. Okay, one thing you got to remember, and this is pretty significant, Donald Trump is the most popular he has ever been in an election cycle at this stage. In 2016, in the polls, he was not this popular. In 2020, in the polls, he was not this popular. Right now, this is the most popular he has been. If you think 2020 was like, oh, you know, Biden put numbers on the board, he did not. He underperformed the polls in 2020. Trump overperformed the polls in 2020. But he is tapped out with like the normal previous voting demographic. 2020 was the opposite though. Post Roe v. Wade was a genuine change of pace and attitude for Trump and Trumpian style candidates and their performance. 2022, sorry. But that's a midterm. Midterms are high propensity voters. On the high propensity voting front, Donald Trump is lost. He does. That's why a lot of election understanders and poll understanders say if it's a low turnout election, the Democrats are likely going to win. If it's a high turnout election, Trump is winning, because Trump is cleaning with low to mid propensity voters, people that skip out on voting, people that don't like reliably and consistently vote. So much so that there is a reality that Donald Trump ends up winning the popular vote and still losing the Electoral College. I would call Trump weak with status signaling whites. I think it's the election of the teacher's pets versus the teacher's pests. That's actually an interesting take. I like that. Yeah, there are far more teachers' pests than there are teachers' pets. So that's also something to remember.